How's it going, everybody? I'm Jeff, and I am the videographer at DoYogaWithMe. This is the wonderfully talented David Precision. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good. I forced David to come in today to speak to me and you guys about a series that David's been working on recently that I've been editing, and it really speaks to me, and I appreciate that you've put it together. So it's a series on anxiety, and as it stands right now, I've edited 6 pieces, and I believe we're probably going to do some add-ons.
We will, yeah.
Yeah, we will?
Yeah.
And so I think what I want to talk to you about, or we should both talk about, is, what in that series, what made you really want to put that out there?
What made me want to put that out there? Yeah, I think the number one reason is because I know what it feels like to have chronic anxiety. And in my life, the people who have taught me the most about relating to the emotional part of myself are people who relate well to their emotional parts of themselves. So I think, I don't know, I don't want to assume that I know everything. That's not the case. It's that I've learned a lot through this process. I've really pushed myself to get to know why I feel the anxiety that I do, and I feel like I have something to teach.
Yeah. For myself, from my personal point of view, never being able to identify what was going on for me and understanding what anxiety was for the longest time was an issue. And then when I started to understand it more through seeing my doctor and some therapy and stuff like that, it wasn't that I got forced to identify just as having anxiety. For me, it actually gave me reason. It gave me understanding of what was happening for me. And it gave me the ability to look kind of into myself and find a way forward. And from what I've edited in that series so far, I see a lot of that. And I think that's what's really going to speak to people here. I love it when you say, you don't have to identify with just, this, oh, you just have anxiety, or, how you present it differently than me, obviously. But the fact that you don't have to just be labeled by it, but understanding and knowing what it is, that's made a change for me, big time.
Yeah, good. I'm glad it has. It must be interesting going through the editing process. When what's being said, you feel on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And then you're probably hearing it over and over again, I imagine, when you're editing.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I have a really good understanding of my own personal anxiety and battles with depression over the years, which there's this kind of weird wave of what's what, really, you know what I mean? But being able to talk about it like this and the work that you've done and the work that our people do that, that I've witnessed and stuff like that, it's been quite grounding to be around a bunch of people that can talk about it.
Yeah. Now I like the way you're putting it, because it's almost like in my personal experience, it's been when I've been asked the right questions. Do you know what I mean? It gets framed a certain way, and it makes you feel something in a slightly different way or relate to something in a slightly different way. And sometimes that's all it takes. Because, and you might relate to this, if you've lived with this feeling in your body, then part of the reason why it's been there for so long is that you feel like you're the only one.
That I gotta jump in. I have to. That was one of my hugest problems.
Yeah.
In my life. Like, that is one of the things where I felt alone with my anxiety. Not knowing it was anxiety, just thinking it was my mind. But yeah, no, I beyond identify with that.
Yeah, so you feel lost, you feel unsupported, you feel like you can't talk to anybody. And because of that, you don't have anyone to get you out of that frame of mind or out of that rut. And I guess you could say that I'm lucky that I got out of it, because I met the right people. I have a few friends in particular who started asking questions, and that's all, like I said, it's all it takes. The right kinds of questions make you think about things in a different way. And then what you realize is that it's important to look at it like this isn't something that you're going to learn to live with overnight.
Yeah.
And I'm not discouraging people in saying that. I'm just saying that, like everything in your life, it's a process that will last a lifetime. And so it requires that kind of attentive care to it. And if you can't bring that kind of attentive care, then you're going to end up numbing yourself, because those are I mean, they're gray areas, but you're either bringing attentive care to it, paying attention to it, and in a way that helps you let go of it, or you're ignoring it. And I spent a lifetime ignoring it. And what happened for me is that it turned from emotional to very physical. Like I became a block of tension, and the center point was my belly, and it was this knot that felt like wrought iron, you know, and I still feel it. Like it's still there. It's just that it's less, and I relate to it differently.
Interesting. Something I got to jump in and say with this. I'm hearing this when you're saying is like, one thing that really jumps up for me is that there isn't this giant complexity to what anxiety is. Although when we're feeling it, it creates that. For me, it always seemed very complex. What's going on with me? What's wrong? How do I figure this thing out? Not even knowing at the time it was anxiety. The identification of finding what it was and being able to identify spots in my body or anything like that, that brought my anxiety levels from here down. Just being able to recognize and know that this is what's happening. This is what's happening. It's not something as complex for me as what I thought it was. The other thing I can say is that, and I wish I could have told myself this years ago, is that when you find little things that work for you, you need to run with them. When you find a person that will listen to you in a right way, you need to spend more time with that person. When you find something that can put a smile on your face and kind of bring some of that feelings down for you and just be okay in your skin for a bit, you need to run with it. And that's something that has really worked for me.
Yeah, you can tell me if I'm kind of relating to what you said. It's almost like the overwhelming part of it is that you're not able to simplify it enough to relate to it.
That's right.
And not be scared of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was referring to the complexity.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've always struggled with that. It's like it is a complex feeling, because when you actually go into the anxiety, I mean, it's not rocket science, right? Like, it's not difficult to understand. Everything is there. If you're open to it, the anxiety isn't the only thing. We become chronically anxious because we zero in on that and we believe that that's the strongest part of who we are. That is the most predominant feeling that we have. But if we zoom out, there's a hell of a lot of stuff there. There's every emotion that a human being can have is there, right? It's just that sometimes you feel some more than others. So we come back to the simplicity part of it. The simplicity part of it is you just feel. That's it.
Yeah.
Get out of your head.
Yes.
You know, stop.
Yes.
Stop trying to think about a solution.
Yes.
And open up. Sorry, I get a little emotional sometimes when I talk about this, and I shouldn't apologize. I know it's like you get out of your head. Stop trying to think of a solution, because the mind is not going to get you there.
Nope.
And be vulnerable. Like, be open, feel it, allow yourself to feel it, and stop judging yourself. Like, just carry that with you in a way that lets it move through. That's the key.
I agree. That really does kind of come back to my own personal thing of like, find those little things that work for you and run with them. What you're saying there, that really, I hear that, you know what I mean? I hear that. And the other thing is like, it's very interesting. It's not complex. It is complex. It's not complex. But when you're feeling those hard emotions that I know that I have, and I know that you struggled with, and a lot of our friends have as well, in those moments, they seem like they own you. They're taking you over. You can't slow it down. You can't control what's happening for you. But that's when you need to know that there's other people like me, I guess like you, that are going through it,
Yeah, you've pretty clearly defined a panic attack, hey? Like on the extreme end of that is like, it is so overwhelming that it feels like you as a being are completely out of control.
Correct.
And you can't. Or this force inside of you is completely out of control, and you don't know what to do with that. Yeah, there was something that you said about in the last parts. So I'm trying to remember what it was. The complex part and the simplicity. Can you?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I said, although it seems like, for me at the time, it was such a complex problem because I didn't understand what was going on with myself. There is a simplicity to it when you have a tiny bit of understanding of what it is. And maybe I overcomplicated it for myself for years because I wanted a quick fix or I wanted to feel better or whatever. But it really doesn't have to be as complex as I made it. If I could have understood to live with it more, or like you said, be vulnerable. Be a little bit vulnerable. Go see a therapist. Go talk to a counselor. Be a little bit vulnerable. Let it out. Let it out. Because it can't own you. It can't own me the more that I can let it go.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really been a part of my life.
Yeah.
Really been a part of my life.
Yeah. Can I just step in there for a second?
Yeah.
So that makes me think about is, I think that everyone who's going through something as challenging as this believes out there that there's a magic pill. And by magic pill, I mean anything, right? I mean that somebody else, or maybe even everybody else, knows how to solve this problem. They've solved it within themselves, but it's too embarrassing for me to ask what the solution is.
Absolutely.
And what the reason why what you said is so, it makes me think about this is because we all have the skills to understand how to let this go. And like you said, your starting point is what is working right now. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I don't know why this happens, but I believed, and you might be able to relate to this, I believed that anything that I did do wasn't right. Even if it made me feel a little bit better, mm-hmm. I was like, no, something else has to be the answer. It can't be what I'm doing right now. Someone needs to tell me the answer. And the truth is that we all have the power within us, and that it is actually quite simple to feel your body and get out of your head. And as long as we understand that it takes time and that mindfulness gets you there, so that constant attention and care to your feelings and getting out of your head, and that change happens. You might not experience overnight, mm-hmm. but if you stick with it, mm-hmm. Over a month, you'll look back and you realize, wow, I actually feel lighter right now than I did a month ago.
The hardest thing is taking that first step.
Yeah. And the first step is every moment.
That's right. So, and I was just going to say, what is that first step? You know what I mean? Like, the first step is knowing, ownership. I'm trying something different, whatever. I don't even, you don't know what it is, right? But like you said, it's a lifelong journey. Mm-hmm. So I think the thing that I would say to myself if I was watching this is, go take some steps. Any step.
Yeah.
Anything that feels good, anything that's helping, just go with it.
Yeah. And so what I think about in this series, and the reason why I'm filming multiple videos, is that there are all kinds of reasons not to do this.
God, I want to jump all over that. let me jump all over. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, there's about 1,000.
Yeah, right. And everybody has their own reasons not to do it. And everybody's reason is a little bit different than everybody else's. So every video, what I try to do is I try to address the thoughts that I have had over the past 2 decades. Yeah. All of those blocks, all of the reasons why I felt hopeless. Mm-hmm. And like I was stuck in this forever. Mm. All of those things. And so what I'm hoping is that you watch a video and it triggers something within you that causes a shift, even if you're not aware of it. Or it's like a big epiphany that you're like, now I get it. And you take that forward with you. And then you have another one, and then you have another one another month later, or a couple weeks later, or the next day. That is how it happens. You carry that with you. The changes are visceral and meaningful and lasting. That's what I'm hoping happens.
Yeah. You got to find anything. And so why not use this as a starting point? Anything can be a starting point. There's something that while you're saying that really kind of speaks to me. It's like, there is 1,000 reasons for us to not do this. to speak out about anxiety, personal judgment, outward judgment, whatever, whatever it is. But the thing is I feel, even with you and I sitting here right now talking about this, I'm feeling some form of freedom. And that's no BS, that's the truth. I kind of feel like I'm able to sit here right now, but if you tried to get me to do this 5 years ago, absolutely not. There's no way it wouldn't have been possible. So it's really interesting. And for me, anxiety and depression has been a lifelong thing. I'd say it's been a journey, not the best one, not the worst one, but these are resources. Speaking to others is a resource. Making these videos talking about what's happening for you or I is a resource. And I think that's what we're bringing to the table, and I like that. I like it. I like it a lot. And I hope it resonates with everybody, and I think it will.
Yeah, I can say that I appreciate that you and I can have this conversation together,
Yeah.
The stigma is strong, man. It really is.
Stigma's real.
Yeah, well, not only do we not want to admit that we feel this way, even like to me, it was with everyone, my family, my close friends. I just couldn't share that part of me with them. Yeah. And if you can't do that, then you will never, like you said, the freedom, you'll never experience the release of those shackles, because it really is like that. The stigma keeps you down. And if you just the simple act of voicing it is a huge step. It's so good for you to be able to talk about it with anyone. Hopefully you choose someone hopefully you have someone to talk to who can listen and feel like you are being heard and respond in a way that makes you feel cared for. That's ideal.
I got to step in on that. I love what you're saying. And I'll tell you why. I spent so much time in my life thinking I was talking to the right people about things. And I know I was wrong now. Because in the years that I've been here working with DoYogaWithMe, and the honesty that we're able to bring to the table right now has made it that I can walk away from those terrible feelings, live in them in those moments, and move forward. Because I have support. I have good people around me that are here and able to talk about this. And it's very important to find someone to listen, whether it's your spouse, somebody you don't know, your best friend, whatever, even yourself. If you can talk to yourself in a caring and passionate way about what's going on for you, you can be okay, Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if I'm allowed to plug a few resources that we have on DoYogaWithMe.
That's why we're here, my friend. These are resources.
Yeah.
These are resources.
Yeah, so not only are we filming a number of videos that speak to the topics that we're discussing today, that is the purpose of our forum. Yeah. Like, our forum is a place that I hope that our community can come to share and have conversations about issues like this. If you have no one that you feel comfortable speaking to in person, then I'm there. I'm on the forum, so is Fiji and other teachers as well. You can share, and even if you're more comfortable with it, then make your name anonymous. It's fine. It's the process of getting that out there is what it's all about. And I'd like to plug my 21-day Let Go of Anxiety and Fear program, which we launched about 6 months ago now, I think.
Something like that.
So that is what the program is all about. It's about progressively making your way towards a place where you're living your life so that you're constantly mindful of what you're experiencing, and you gain the skills and the tools to be able to let that flow through you and stop letting go of it. That's essentially bird's eye view of what the program is about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that 21-day series, it was also, like David said, we did it about 6 months ago, and I love all this content that we're putting out like this. And it's very timely for what's happening with the rest of the world right now. I know it's timely for me. These things are supporting me as well. Although I'm editing and I'm sitting here with David, this is supporting me. So I'm working with my anxiety right now. And I love that you said that. I love what you said about, if you don't have somebody to reach out to us. Feel free. I mean, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and to be honest, like, this is not entirely, what's the right word? What I want to say is the process for me is also healing me. Like
yeah.
creating those videos are the best thing that I could do for myself.
Yeah.
Because the more I share, the lighter I feel, and the more I understand about the darker feelings inside of me.
I just feel really proud that we'll be able to support people like ourselves.
Yeah.
That's what I like. So, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Thanks for this talk.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it, Jeff.
Yeah, man, me too. I really did. I really appreciate it. You guys, please, reach out to us, send us a message. Let us know if you want to see some supplementals added on to the anxiety program. David's got some pranayama stuff that he's working on that we're going to add into it. And if there's anything that you can think of that you want to see from us or just hear from us, please let us know. Please let us know, right?
Questions around anxiety would be great.
Like, what are the resources you and I found originally? Well, I'm willing to answer questions, whatever. If there's anything that we can do to step forward, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, man. Good seeing you today.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Jeff.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this. And I hope it finds you well.